Hello, everyone. My name is Ben Brakeman, and the subject of today's talk is building a tribe in the era of isolation. Now, if you're someone who feels isolated, feels alone, you should know that you are not alone. 40% of American adults report feeling lonely. Now, that's double what it was in the 1980s. In the 1980s, 20% of American adults reported feeling alone. Today, it's risen to 40%. Now, I want to discuss how you start building your own tribe because most people are like alone, but they have no idea, well, how do I start making friends with people who share similar interests and make me inspired and want to become a better person, um, and who want to go rock climbing with me or want to practice music with me or want to discuss World of Warcraft with me or want to discuss anime or want to discuss mixed martial arts, whatever your thing is, or your maybe you have various interests, whatever those interests are, how do you find those people and how do you develop deep, meaningful relationships with them? Because that's really the foundation of human happiness. Um, we live in an era that drives us towards isolation, and we're not designed to live in isolation. Like Aristotle said, a man who can live alone outside of civilization, completely by himself, is either a god or a beast. So, unless you're a god or an animal, you're not going to thrive. You're not going to be happy being alone. So, let's start talking about why we're so alone, and then we'll discuss how we can solve it. So, pulling up my document here. For millions of years, we lived in tribes. All right, we had deep connections with, on average, 150 people. That's Dunbar's number. Look it up. Deep, meaningful relationships. And you didn't live in isolation unless you were excommunicated from the tribe, which often meant death. So no wonder we're so depressed and anxious when we're alone. Our body tells us, and our mind tells us, our subconscious tells us that when we're alone, we're likely to die. So no wonder we feel so terrible. But yes, for millions of years, we didn't have to worry about having close, meaningful relationships. We were born into a tribe. We had other tribal members with whom we all shared the same passions and the same goals. Our passions were, hunting animals, um, our religious rituals, um, finding a suitable partner, a wife or a husband to spend our lives with, uh, and basically just survival. The nature of human existence made it such that we all shared pretty much the same interests by necessity. Um, and but it was a beautiful thing. Uh, People who live in tribes even today um, report high levels of happiness, and they're extremely healthy, despite often living at the bare edge of survival. Why? Because they're so close to their family members. They're so close to their other tribal members. They have so many friends. This is what our biology is designed for living in a tribe, not in modern society. So I just recently read an article, and I'll link to it below in the video description, from Psychology Today entitled Isolation Nation. And I'll just read a few quotes from that article. Just as we have basic needs for food, water, and shelter, the need for social connection is crucial to our well being. Sadly, as our communities are unraveling, Americans are becoming more isolated. Since the 1980s, the percentage of American adults who report being lonely has doubled from 20% to 40%. Again, let's not skip over that. Think about that fact. Approximately half of American adults are lonely. How crazy is that? So if you're alone, you're not alone in being alone. Almost the majority of people, and the number is growing, and soon it'll probably be over 50% of people are lonely. Okay, so continuing on from there, more than a quarter of the population lives alone. God, I did that before. It was hell. Living alone, human beings are not designed to live alone. We're not designed to live alone. I did it before, and it was absolute and complete hell. Um, and it led to a lot of bad decisions, like getting back with an ex-girlfriend who was extremely toxic, simply so I wouldn't be alone, and led to codependency, and led to a toxic relationship that really drove me into the ground and really fucked up my life. So dealing with this problem is highly complicated, and it's the reason why I take it so seriously, because if you don't solve it properly, you're either going to be depressed, anxious, or you're going to be in a codependent relationship. And codependent relationships are worse even than isolation. All right, so the next quote I'm going to paraphrase simply for simplicity's sake. And it's about the effect of smartphones as technology and how they've negatively impacted our effect to have deep, meaningful connections with other people. Widespread smartphone use has also diminished the quality of our social interactions. It's become acceptable to ignore texts, messages, and emails. If you send an invitation to a birthday party or even a simple, hey, how have you been? If you say that to someone in person and the response was silence, that would be considered rude at the very least. You'd be like, hey, did you hear me? What's up? No, but with Facebook messages, text, people can just ignore you, and it's much easier for people to stay in isolation. And it's not good. So this type of dismissive behavior has become the norm, and norms are what shape societies. So yeah, this is a heavy topic. What have smartphones and social media done to our social lives? You would think that they would encourage stronger social bonds with people, right? Allows us to stay connected with thousands of acquaintances, allows us to stay closer to families, even if we're in another state. Allows us to see how their lives are doing. We get to see pretty much their photo album, constantly being updated, see how they're living their lives, comment on posts that they're making, and you would think that would allow us to be more connected, but it's not. Because instead of hanging out with other people in person, we send them text messages or comment on their Facebook status. You'll see teenage kids, literally, they're in the same room, sitting at a table, and they're all texting. They're all together at like a Starbucks table. None of them are talking with each other. None of them are making eye contact. They're all sitting together, 5, 6, even 10 of them, but they're all sitting down on their phones, and they are talking to. Sometimes they're texting each other, and they're sitting right next to the other person, and that is not good. That is not how you develop a deep, meaningful connection with another person. You have to look other people in the eyes to really develop that meaningful connection with them and have real face-to-face discussions. But it's become more and more rare. And even when we do have those discussions, many times it's just small talk. We don't have really deep, meaningful conversations. Without deep, meaningful conversations, how are we supposed to have deep, meaningful relationships? People are desperate for this. So many people are dying for it. I knew I was desperate for it for a very, 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 very long time until I got my social life figured out post college. Because post college, you know, you don't have a lot. It's not naturally there for you. You have to build your social. You have to build your tribe yourself. You have to build your own social circle. Now I could go deeper into what's driving, isolation in the modern age, but I want to get into how you start building your own tribe. So the first thing you want to do is figure out the type of people you want to hang out with, right? What are you passionate about? What fires you up? What do you love What do you love discussing? What do you love doing? You know, if you don't have any passions right now, if you don't have anything you're fascinated by, if you don't have anything you love discussing, then you need to find those things. But let's say you're a super nerd like me. You're hyper intellectual. You love reading books, and you'll discuss anything from neuroscience to current geopolitical events to the science of good and evil. Well, you want to find other super nerds like you to discuss those topics. You know, where do you find those people? Well, you go to conventions about subjects you're interested in. If you're into politics, you get involved in political, groups, or involved in political campaigns. If you're let's say you're into weightlifting and nutrition and Brazilian jiu-jitsu and mixed martial arts and rock climbing and surfing and longboarding. Well, you want to find friends that share the same passion so you can all get together and go rock climbing together and practice jiu-jitsu together. Not just in a class, but, just hit somebody up and go practice in the park or practice at the beach. I'll practice jiu-jitsu on the beach, with a couple of my buddies, and I love it. And it's awesome on a beautiful day, and it's just amazing. Um, so you got to go to the places where the type of people you want to make friends with, you got to go where those people are. You know, I go to the gym every single day, and I've just started being more outgoing so I can start making friends. I just made a really great friend in the last week. Just some kid who was chilling, and I struck up a conversation about him, regarding the leg presses he was doing. He was doing it with improper form, and I started talking to him about that, and then we started talking about a whole bunch of different topics that we had a bunch of shared interests with, and we just clicked instantly. I was like, man, we gotta hang out sometime. He was like, hell, fucking yeah. So we exchanged numbers, Snapchats, everything, and we've hung out like 3 times in the last week. The dude's awesome, and like, he's younger than me, and it's kind of a mentorship relationship. I'm teaching him a lot of things that I had to learn the hard way, and hopefully he can learn the easier way, you know? And that's another thing we need. We need more mentorship. When I find someone who's younger than me, who's lost, I do my best to give them good advice, steer them towards, books and lectures and, information that can help them solve the problems in their lives that they're struggling with. And I help to try to motivate them. And you also need to find people who can mentor you, people that are older than you, that are similar to you, that have the same interest. Maybe you want to get into software engineering, so maybe find a software engineer who shares the same type of personality, same sort of interest as you, and you can talk to him about, hey, I want to get into computer science, I want to become a computer engineer, and he can give you guidance in that field. But you can also maybe you're also both into weightlifting and into competitive jiu-jitsu, and you can also do that together. You know, I have a broad array of interests, so I have a broad array of friends. I'm a nerd and a jock, so I hang out with nerds, I hang out with jocks, and I also hang out with nerdy jocks. And the nerdy jocks are the best because I'm a nerd and a jock, and when I find someone who's also a nerd and a jock, we just click like that because we can go from discussing, the latest developments in stem cell therapy to you know, going, practicing jiu-jitsu to, going to the beach and surfing all in the same day, which is perfect for me. So, in the next video, I'll go more into the strategy of this. If people have questions about how you can, just go up to someone and start talking to them, get over your social anxiety, and learn to be outgoing, just, leave them in comment below. Let me know what you're having problems with in terms of getting out of your isolated state, so I can think about how I got over my social anxiety and how I got out of my small little bubble and started making friends and started building my own tribe. And hopefully I want to develop friendships with over 100 different people. I want to have like 5 to 10 really close friends and like 100, friends that I have like sustainable, meaningful relationships with. So I have like my best friends, and then, 100 or so like regular friends, just like I did in high school and college. You know, and I've been doing that recently, and it's been making me so much happier. So that's the end of today's presentation. I hope that some people found it useful. It was my first time doing this. I didn't put a lot of proper preparation into it. I know I'm going to look back at it and cringe at how unorganized it was and how much better I could do with providing these sort of presentations. But I'll get better over time. So if you have any criticisms, let me know. If there's anything I can do better, shoot me a comment. I love constructive criticism, and I'll be learning as I go. And I hope, soon I'll be able to discuss anything in a cohesive manner, in a lucid manner, just like someone like Jordan Peterson or Joe Rogan. You know, that's the goal anyway. I want to work on my communication skills. I want to work on my presentation skills. Um, and I'll be doing podcasts also in the future, sitting down with other people and having discussions. And hopefully that'll make for good content as well. Um, and it'll take time before I can make really high quality content. But like Jordan Peterson says, just start. And when you start off, you're gonna do it badly, but that's okay. Just start doing it, and you'll learn as you go. So that's my advice to anyone who wants to start doing something as well. Just start doing it, even if you do it badly in the beginning. Eventually, you'll become better at it. Just start. You don't have to overly plan. You don't have to figure everything out. Just start doing it and learn as you go. All right, now take care, and please subscribe. Please like the video. Please share it, and if you wish to support me, I'll have my Patreon page below, uh, so that I can spend more time, you know, producing videos about interesting subjects and less time, doing handyman work and landscaping. Um, what I really want to do is go out to colleges and have interesting discussions with college students about, subjects that affect all of us, and that we and have meaningful, deep discussions, and encourage them to do the same with other people, because that's what we need more in this society is deep, meaningful discussions with other people and deep, meaningful relationships. That's what's going to lead to a better society. It's the foundation of everything. All right. Thank you very much for watching.